This is a classroom. The teacher stands at the front, and the students watch and listen. You'll recognize this because it's probably how you were taught, and how your parents were taught before you. But there are a lot of problems with this approach to teaching. You see, not all students learn at the same speed, so some get left behind. And while some students learn better by listening, others may learn better by doing. This means that teachers can't always do the best job they can. But there is another way. The flipped classroom addresses these problems and makes learning more personal. First, the teacher makes a video that delivers the content they'd usually teach in class. Then they share it online with students who can watch it before the next lesson. This leaves the teacher free to spend class time leading activities that help students apply the knowledge. Students can rewind and re-watch a video as many times as they like and come back to class with questions for the teacher. So keeping up with the class is no longer an issue. Students can access the video at any time using mobile devices, giving them the ability to learn more independently. Instead of sitting and listening, students can spend class time applying knowledge in more practical ways. And teachers are free to spend their time working with students and giving them individual support and attention. The flipped classroom model is already making a difference to students and teachers worldwide, so get involved. Discover more at flippedinstitute.org and become part of the movement.
So is this for you? Will a flipped classroom work in your subject area and grade level? We think the answer is yes, and here's why. So how do you flip a science class? Take your direct instruction, put that on a video. All that time you get back, labs, labs, labs. Get your kids involved in hands-on learning. In fact, start going down the road of inquiry. Have your students engage in a question and an investigation before you supplement then with some of that video content.
In math class, it's like the biggest no-brainer in the flipped classroom. Kids struggle with math content, so put the problems and how to do that on the video so that when they're in class, they get the help that they need. But don't just solve problems. Make sure you're also bringing in problems and projects that enhance the learning environment for your students.
Can you flip a class like English that isn't real content heavy? The answer is yes. Think about the mechanics of language, the mechanics of grammar, the mechanics of writing. Those are the type of instructional things you could put on a video so that you can get your time back in your class to actually get the students involved in the writing process. You could also use those videos as a remediation tool for students who come to your class without the prerequisite skills.
What about a practical subject like art or woodworking? Well, make a video on techniques and tools the students would use so that in class they can apply those same techniques and tools so that in class the students are making things.
Social studies teachers can leverage video to deliver concept overviews. That way you can get class time back to get students involved in dialogue and reading original documents. That way they're learning more about why things happen in history than just what happened in history.
Can you flip a physical education class? Of course you can. So make a video on how to serve a volleyball so when the kids come to class, they can serve volleyballs. Or how to play a particular game so that when they come to class, they can play the game. This frees up class time for teachers who are bogged down with too much explanation and rule giving.
What about students who learn at a pace that's different than the pace that the teacher is teaching? They could be a student who learns very, very quickly or a student who might learn a little more slowly. Well, having a flipped classroom in place gives the students control over the pace in which they're exposed to content.
A student can watch a video at double speed and hear the content faster.
Or a student could also pause and rewind if they need to hear content slower or multiple times.
The common thread in all of these examples is that lower level skill and concept stuff is done on the video so that the in-class time is used for higher order thinking, deeper learning, and more engagement. Here are some tips to overcome some of the hurdles and blunders that we've seen commonly happen as teachers flip their classrooms.
Make sure your students can access the content. We all know that not all students have access to the internet at their home, so you may have to come up with some other solutions. Get some flash drives, check them out to students, burn the video content onto DVDs, or write a grant, get a class set of some sort of digital device that you can check out to your students and they can take home and use that way.
Make sure you teach your students how to watch a video. You say, my kids know how to watch a video. Yes, they know how to watch Spider-Man, but that's not the same as watching an educational video that you've created for them to watch. Ultimately, you're trying to teach them how to interact with the video content in a meaningful way that causes them to reflect and think through what they're being exposed to. I had a conversation with a 6th grade teacher, and he said, I spent 3 weeks teaching my students how to watch a video. He had, little guys, 12-year-olds. I had 16-year-olds. It makes a huge difference based on the maturity of the kids and what they are ready and prepared to learn.
Keep in mind that the length of the videos does matter. Our rule of thumb is 1 to 1.5 minutes per grade level that the students are in. So a 4th grade student, you're talking 4 to 6 minutes max. A 10th grade student, 10 to 15 maximum. Keep it short, and if you need to make more videos that are short, that's better than making fewer videos that are long. Another question that a lot of teachers ask is, what do I do if students show up to my class and they haven't viewed the content? Well, let's be real here. I mean, there are kids who are going to show up to any classroom who haven't done their homework. That's just a reality that we live in as educators. It's really not that different in a flipped classroom, but there are ways that you can safeguard or build in some steps to keep kids engaged while they're viewing the content and that you can use to check to see if they have. We took the low-tech approach. We just wanted to see some notes. Other teachers are embedding these videos onto a web page and embedding like a Google form underneath it to collect some data from the students, having them answer some questions. You could just pose a question in the video themselves and have the students bring the answer to that question as an entrance ticket into class. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can check to see if students actually did their work, and then you as a teacher, as an educator, will just hold them accountable for that.
Ultimately, I think the key is that you hold kids accountable. If they've made the poor choice of not doing the work, then what you're going to do is you're going to take that time and you're going to say, you now have to watch the video in class while the other kids are getting help on the hard stuff.
So some teachers get a little intimidated by this idea of creating their own videos. Really, you don't need a super duper studio. You don't need to worry about high dollar cameras and things like that. But there are a few techniques that you can do to really improve the quality of your stuff. So sit in a room with good lights, have a nice quiet area to work, and don't have a distracting background. Have it something nice and simple. Those are things that you can introduce to help the quality. Another question you should ask yourself is, do I need it to be perfect, or do I need it on Tuesday? So some teachers can get bogged down and trying to have everything just perfect, but how many of your actual live lessons in a classroom have been perfect? Probably not very many. We teach naturally, we teach organically, and we speak to our students in a way that's meaningful to them. Make these videos the same way. Just make them effective content delivery tools. Don't worry about trying to make a Hollywood production out of it.
One of the beauties of the flipped class is it's very scalable. You know what? You don't have to flip a class. You could flip one lesson, or you could flip a unit, or you could flip a whole class. It's scalable. So one recommendation we would have for you is maybe you need to start small and figure out what's the best place to flip. If I were to give you a recommendation of what you should flip if you're looking for a lesson, find something that your kids struggle with. I was working with a group of 4th grade teachers, and we were talking about math, and they said, in unison to me, they said, my kids struggle with long division. I said, that's your first flipped class video, is long division. So what's the equivalent of long division for you? That's your first lesson to flip.
So to recap, make sure all of your students have access to the content.
Make sure you teach them how to watch the videos.
Build in some safeguards to make sure that all students are actually watching the videos.
Don't feel the need to make your videos perfect.
And don't try to do too much all at once. Take it step by step, take it slow, and before long, you'll have flipped your class.